There's an elephant in our classrooms. His name is myopia. He's a stickler for the rules and for tradition. I am a disruptive thinker, a change maker, an elephant spotter, and sometimes an elephant mover. Just for the fun of it, could I get people to give a show of hands who does not like change? Is there anyone here who does not like change? Oh, I see some. There's a few. Yes, be honest. Please be honest. It's good therapy for you. Now, who of you, keep your hands up, who of you do not have a smartphone? Okay. Oh, okay, we've still got a few. Who do not have a PC? Who do not have any form of technology? I still see one hand. Okay, go on. Because you know what? We all love change. We love change and we hate change. I am an advocate of such. I love change and I hate change. Change must be about bringing benefits. And if it does, we love change. There's something more that I hate though, apart from change. And that is when you can see that change must occur and it doesn't. When you can see all the evidence to say that we should do something different and yet we don't. That frustrates me no end as a person who loves change. I've worked in the last 10 years working with corporations to help them with change, changing their cultures, changing their work processes, and quite often what we do is we change the physical space. And that acts as a catalyst for the other changes to occur. This is nothing new. It happens in all sorts of organisations. And we've all seen that, haven't we? Companies spend thousands and thousands of dollars per staff member to set up a dynamic, wonderful place in which you can work. And here's the thing, they don't do it because they love you. I'm really sorry, they don't. They do it because it helps you align with their goals. It helps you align with the vision that they have. It improves productivity and it improves the bottom line of the organisations. Space is very important to us in terms of how we think, how we connect to things. And we do this all day, every day in the society we live in. We see that in our homes, in the coffee shops we prefer to go to, in the parks that we prefer to play in. Walk into a classroom and you don't see that. It's like either it's not important or it doesn't matter. But it does matter to the children. You put them in a boring space, a dreary space, and often an unhealthy space, and it's more difficult for them to engage. Put them in a lively space, and they can naturally engage. Children have an intrinsic desire to learn if you just put them in the place where that can occur. But it's economic rationalism that's gone mad. It's the industrial education system. It's a legacy that's part of our society and every other developed nation. And it is hurting us. We see this in all that, and Ken Robinson pointed out to this as well. And he said not only do we have an elephant in a classroom, we actually have a rhino. Because not only are you trying to move and change the space, you need to change the whole system in which we work, in which they learn. And it's not only affecting them, it's affecting the teachers. So Ken Robinson said that there was two reasons that reform was occurring. I think he was an optimist. In 2007, he gave this keynote speech. He said we needed to reform because of economics and because of culture. The economics being that we live in fully developed nations. It's not an industrial era anymore. And the cultural element is the advancement of our cultures, the way that we've changed, changes in our lifestyle, how we all live. He pointed out the industrial model was batch production. So you take a child at 6 years old, you put them into the machine, and by the time they're 18, they roll out the production line, seemingly educated. And it does seem that they are educated, that they can talk, they can do some maths, things like that. But they're not necessarily connected then to adult society. We haven't necessarily prepared them for an adult world, for a world in which we desire, not only do we desire, but we need them to participate. And Sir Ken pointed out this 7 years ago. Yet here we stand. And not only do we have children that are struggling within the system, our teachers are struggling within the system as well. The University of South Australia did a study in 2013 and pointed out that amongst all the other sectors, the other industries of our countries, that Australian teachers were the second worst off for their personal health, exceedingly stressed. And they are the sixth worst off in terms of job satisfaction. Teachers are idealists. They do education because it matters to them. They do education because they want to see a child go from something small to something great. And yet here they are, so stressed within this current system. And there's other problems that point to the problems of this industrial system. We've all heard of NAPLAN in Australia, and there's also another one called PISA, which is an international standardised testing in mathematics, numeracy, and science literacy. And what it points to is that the developed countries, such as the USA, Australia and Finland, they're failing. Developing countries, which happens to be that they are still industrialising, are actually succeeding in this standardised testing. And this points to the problem. But there's another thing. The reason that we're maintaining the system is, as one teacher told me, it seems that we're still getting educated kids, and so it doesn't look like the model is broken, at least not fully broken. And we do, and in particular, we have this sector called gifted children. We love our gifted children. Every school has classes now for gifted children. All they are the kids that align with the current model. I find it difficult because I have two beautiful daughters. I believe them to be gifted. And for any parent, when you look at your children, you can see gifts and you can see talents in them. All of our children are gifted. All of our children are talented. Not necessarily, though, in this current education model. Albert Einstein pointed this out many, many years ago. And he said that we are all genius. But if you teach a fish to climb a tree, it will spend its life thinking that it is stupid. Our children are not stupid, and they're not becoming more stupid. They are clever, but each one is individually clever. And so we need a different model to engage them. And I've been to 50 schools over the last 4 years, helping them with change. And I've seen this model at work, and it works very well. It's called a personalised learning matrix. And in that matrix, the child and the teacher negotiate and work out what is the best for that child. They have to still deliver curriculum, that's a requirement, but they do it in another landscape. And they hide it under other activities. Project-based learning. Learning as those two young students who were here earlier learnt to make things and resolve problems. And along the way, they learn literacy and numeracy. So the personal-based learning system is the key. And you deliver that within a dynamic space that engages them. And can you imagine what the results could be? Compare that, though, to our current system. Our Education Minister for New South Wales recently said at a conference in London that we needed to look overseas to resolve the problems of our failing schools. We needed to look to South Korea and look to Finland. Finland might be fine. South Korea, I do not understand. Certainly they're higher up in the PISA marks at the moment. However, they have a suicide rate of their youth which is 3 times higher than Australia. It is directly associated with the intense education system that they have, where the children are spending, even young children, 12 hours a day studying, 6 days per week. And those children don't understand why. South Korea has had a meteoric rise in terms of the country. Everything to the child has been done. And the reason they see that is because a new purpose, a new idea hasn't been developed in those children. They're going along with what the legacy, with what the elephant has been telling them to do. And it is hurting them. But imagine instead a classroom which from the very moment you arrived engaged your senses. Imagine a classroom where technology abounded, which is so easily available, where the teacher was no longer standing at the front holding a holy grail, but there amongst the students actually being another student themselves, being the lead learner. Imagine a space where students can either get with groups or work individually, thinking with technology or even going beyond using technology. Imagine using a small little device. Now this device is real, it only costs you about $2,000. A teacher could jump on a plane, fly across the world, stick that up onto a plain wall, start writing on it and have it delivered into his classroom or her classroom. Every day of the week you could have this collaboration going on. We've got the resources, we've got everything available to make this happen. We simply have to make a decision to do it. We've had enough talk about changing our education system. We need to simply do it. You could invest in new classroom design, and for 3% of the current education budget, you could deliver fantastic, dynamic classrooms. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But it's not enough on its own. You need to change the system in which you teach the children. And wouldn't that be welcomed? Imagine asking the teachers to get involved with changing the education system to suit what they see every day and what they know works every day. And if we talk to those schools that are using this personal learning matrix, we could resolve this very quickly. Imagine a school where not only the student and the teacher is actively involved, but the parents also want to be involved. And not only the parents, where everybody within the community wants to be involved and have that school as the centre of which to focus on and to build our lives around. This could happen quickly and easily, and what a world it would be. We would no longer have elephants in our classroom, ever. Thank you.